In the middle of May 2018, the 8th European Data Protection Days took place in Berlin. Politicians, regulators and data protection officers met just a few days before the European General Data Protection Regulation came into force and discussed the challenges and upcoming changes resulting from it for the whole of Europe.
We still have many member states to adopt their national legislation. We will have probably 8 states where the national laws will not be adopted and enforced by 25th of May. So we expect some period of legal uncertainty. I hope it will not last for a long time.
It will bring stronger rights for the data subjects, and it will bring a new enforcement structure, a new enforcement regime for the supervisory authorities. They just have to establish a new kind of cooperation under the Edpd.
The GDPR is a massive root to branch transformation for data protection authorities. It's significantly changing the types of functions, powers and tasks that we have, and of course it's also requiring us to cooperate and render consistent our application of this new harmonised law for Europe.
The GDPR puts European citizens' private data rights in first place. People now have easier access to the data that companies hold about them. There is also a fine new regime and a clear responsibility for organisations to obtain the consent of people they collect information about. All that will bring a lot of changes for companies, which the big players of the sector have already realised can only be solved by exchange and cooperation.
The GDPR is a legal obligation, so we've had to invest very heavily in terms of people to comply with this. We've just launched a new privacy policy. It doesn't change processing, but it makes everything clearer and easier for users to understand.
Some of the biggest challenges of GDPR compliance were doing the data inventory, making sure that we understood every single piece of data that we had collected, and then going through the process of making sure that we had a legal basis for the collection and processing of each piece of data.
I think the biggest changes for our users are really giving them tools and controls that they are familiar with and can use, and that give them confidence. There are obviously changes in the flows that we're asking them to go through. That's a sort of once-off moment, but going forward we will be building a familiar place, a dashboard of controls where they can manage their experience and can get the service that they want.
The topics around GDPR and its challenges dominated this year's conference in many keynotes, discussions and also in parallel sessions. However, topics like the Privacy Shield, e-privacy regulation or the influence of Brexit were not forgotten.
The UK government has committed to fully transpose the GDPR into domestic law, so the UK citizens and consumers will have that same high standard when the UK leaves the EU.
We see that when we are coming to concretize the principles of the General Data Protection Regulation in a specific sector, electronic communication, that we are facing a lot of new discussions and that a lot of stakeholders are really very far away one from the other solution.
To see also the other side of the coin, the data protection professionals enjoyed a guided tour at the German Spy Museum, where both old-fashioned and modern espionage methods are on display. So, what impressions did the conference leave with the attendees?
I learned a lot. You know, you can study on your own, but by sharing thoughts with others, you get different perspectives and you get a global view.
When it comes to big data and privacy protection, I think it's the best conference that you can attend in Europe.
To catch up with the issues, what the authorities and data controllers are dealing with about GDPR, to get information about all the issues, the hot topics, I recommend to attend this conference.